All right.
Okay, Jackie, you're up.
Okay, can you all see my screen there?
Yes.
All right, thanks everyone for joining. Tonight we have one presentation, so welcome. It will be the Double Wide Grill at 2339 East Carson Street. I'd like to thank everyone for joining, and just to let you know, the Southside Community Council is a registered community organization recognized by the city of Pittsburgh. They were here tonight as part of the dam process because these meetings allow developers, business owners, stakeholders in the community to engage in conversation related to the project presented this evening. So we do have a number of people on the Zoom, but we also have folks that call in from their cell phones. So if you're presenting, please clearly describe the slide that you're flipping to and what's on the slide. After the presentation, we'll invite all of the participants to ask any questions or comments. The Zoom will have a chat, does have a chat feature, excuse me, or you can raise your hand and we will call on you. If you're on the call, if you're on your phone, and you need to raise your hand, it's *9, and we'll go ahead and call you when ready. So please use those tools when we get to the Q&A portion of this. And as Barb mentioned earlier, we are recording this meeting. So 2339 Double Wide Grill, this is the installation of 2 smokers in the front patio that will face historic Carson Street. And so I'm going to turn it over to the guests to share their screen.
Okay. 1 moment.
Take your time.
Let's see here.
We can see your desktop, so you're good so far.
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking to put in 2 offset smokers. I also have our pit master here tonight. That's the person that operates the smokers. His name is Mitch Herring. He'll be able to answer your questions about the smokers. We are looking to move these smokers from Sport Pit, which is in Garfield, to the Double Wide Grill on the south side. If they're moved to the south side, Mitch will be the person operating the smokers there, and he will continue to work there operating the smokers. He's been at Sport Pit for about 5 years doing that. Next, I'm going to share a Photoshop image. This is, the smokers aren't there now. We just did an image of what they would look like. I did one image from the corner of 24th and Carson, which is about 60 feet away from the smokers. And then the second image is it's right on the curb in front of the smokers. It's about 20 feet away from the smokers. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is the image from the corner. There is a lot of shading from the building there. It's always a somewhat shady spot, except in the summertime. It's over when the sun's over us. Those are the approximate sizes of the smokers, the best we could put them in there. And I'll show you if I can blow this up a little bit. Is that good enough for everyone so far?
Yes. It's
Okay.
hard to see the smokers. If you can maybe show with your cursor. Okay.
Right here.
Okay.
That's
There's
giant.
2 of them. They're back to back, yeah. Well, when you're further away, they don't look so big. I'll be showing a another slide in a little bit that shows the dimensions of them. They're approximately 7 foot 4 inches tall.
Oh, I have a problem with that.
I'm gonna mute everyone other than those who are, if you can mute yourself, that would be great, other than the presenters. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. When you're ready, I can show the other view from the front curb.
Yep, go ahead.
They're going to be set back a little bit more. There's trees there. This is just a Photoshop. So on the architectural drawing, it shows how far back they're set. That fence on the left, by the way, that was a car just ran into it. So that's going to get repaired over here.
Hmm.
When you're ready, I can show the next pictures.
Yep, go ahead.
So down here is where the two smokers are going. It's on the front left corner of the property, next to the green front end. And these are the actual dimensions of the smokers. So they're about 6 feet off of the street. And next, I'm just going to show the heights and widths of the smokers. So with the smokestack, it's 11 foot 4 inches. You can see on the left here, there's an awning on it, which is 8 foot 6 inches wide when it's folded out the whole way. And they're 7 foot 4 tall, as you can see right here. Okay. All right. That's all I have for pictures.
Christ. Okay. All right, well, we can take questions from anyone on the Zoom or on their phone. If you want to raise your hand, we'll go ahead and go through the queue. If you don't know where the raise your hand function is, it's at the bottom of your screen. Typically, there's a button that says reactions, and you can click on that and then raise your hand. All right, looks like Bob has his hand raised. We'll go ahead and start with Bob. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I just wanted to say, we saw this at the LRC a couple of weeks ago. They came to us and reviewed some of the images that they showed up front. We're seeing the kind of more detailed drawings here for the first time. So from the LRC and the Historic District Guideline point of view, the district guidelines mostly speak to alterations of buildings. So this is not altering the double wide grill building. So the guidelines there don't really apply. the guidelines also have a site improvement and alterations section. And that part of the guideline speaks to, specifically says, the HRC will review things on the site, including paving, light standards, wall fences, and landscaping. Kind of built-in fixed items and elements. What the guidelines don't really address and aren't purview to the HRC in the district is like site furniture, seats and tables out on the sidewalks or on their patio, their planters, the portable things. So after a very robust discussion at LRC about this, where initially we are also concerned about the size, the smoke billowing out of these, the impact on the district should these start to proliferate and cause a precedent to be set here. In the end, we felt that the district guidelines don't really address these things, that they're sort of temporary equipment, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And they can be wheeled in, wheeled out at any time. They're not altering the building and or the site per se. So in that sense, we're going to let the HRC decide to what degree, and they ultimately decide whether or not this is in their purview or not. Obviously, have called for the dam and the application to be filed. But LRC is going to be somewhat neutral in that we don't think the guidelines address this issue. So then it's really up to the community to talk about whether or not they want smokers parked out in front of double wide. One, we appreciate Steve and the others coming to us and the community up front before parking these on a Sunday and making kind of the improvements we see that we talked about at the beginning of the meeting from other properties that do things in the dead of night, and then they show up and then we start an enforcement action through 311 to make them happen. So I think that should be taken into account somewhat, that they are coming to you first to talk about all this, but let this discussion begin from the community's point of side. And then I don't know what other zoning items may purview outside of HRC's design guidelines. But Steve can talk to that because they have been used up in Garfield, not in a historic district, but outside of historic district guidelines, he can talk about zoning and other things that are these may or may not apply, and permits he may need to operate these things on his patio. So I'll leave it at that from the LRC point of view.
So Steve, can you speak to the permits and operational aspects of this, what you need to do to be able to operate these adjacent to a structure?
As far as we've seen so far, there's nothing that says you can't have a smoker in the city. Mitch can tell you at Sport Pit, they were about 2 feet away from the building, the way they were operating.
Steve, can you put up the photo? I think that gives us a better understanding of what the plans are. And you had sent us one initially that I think provided us with a better view of the smokers. Do you remember what you had sent us?
Yeah, it's I can pull it up in a minute.
Okay.
I have that. If you want me to share my screen, I have that pulled up as well. That's easier.
Not sure where it is.
Okay.
If you have it.
Yep. If you can stop sharing, I'll go ahead and flip over.
Gotta figure out how to.
Probably at the top of your screen, possibly.
Yeah. All right.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, that first one that was done by myself. I'm not very good with Photoshop, so that's the difference.
All right. Are you guys seeing this rendering?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I was looking at this before the call, and it's funny you said that, Steve, because I looked at the dimensions of the smokers, and then I looked at this rendering, and typically a door is at about 7 feet. And those smokers are actually in the foreground, so they might actually be a little bit bigger than this, but it's a pretty good job in terms of your detail on here. But I think they're actually going to scale a bit larger in
Yeah.
real life.
And Steve, I guess, what was the motivation to bring them over? You guys have been doing, ribs and all of that for the time that Double Wide has been around. And would it be that they became available and you decided to use them here?
Yes, we're trying to make a Texas style barbecue place to have like the best barbecue in the city. What we do now is just sort of a shortcut. This is more the real deal of doing barbecue. Mitch could chime in on that as well.
Can you repeat that, Steve? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
He had asked, what's new about this? What are we bringing as far as barbecue to our concept?
Gotcha. So this is what we're trying to bring is more of like a traditional style, like kind of Texas barbecue. More of like a clean, like wood fire that you normally wouldn't get at like a lot of barbecue places nowadays. I mean, we're also not just providing like meat, we're also just like providing like an experience to majority of our customers. I mean, we can go as far as like smoking pineapples for margaritas to smoking salt for like even the rims or just any ingredient in general. So we're trying to take this more of an aspect of kind of giving more of like I guess you would say like more of a traditional, but like a modern twist to barbecue food.
Mm-hmm.
So I've eaten at Sport Pit many times and it was delicious, I have to say. And so I know that like when we would go there for dinner, a lot of things would sell out and it would sell out because you only make so much in a day because smoking is like an art, right? You can only make so much. It takes so long.
You want that food you want that food as fresh as possible. You never want to reheat it.
So what would the operational hours of these smokers be in order for you to have your meat and whatever else you're smoking on a regular basis available for lunch or dinner? Is it an overnight process or is it during the day process or both?
So at first, when I first started with Fork Pit, it was majority of an overnight kind of execution. But then since we were kind of like, well, we're kind of like, because in our industry, we're more on a time aspect. So what we did was we figured like, well, since if we could just get there early enough in the morning, by the time we open up, everything should be already rested and go for us. So we didn't have to make it an overnight operation.
So these would run during the morning hours then?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Sorry, you were breaking up there. Can you repeat the operational hours?
So ours was, originally mine, when I first started, it was from about 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. was standard, at least to make sure everything was all set and taken care of. But when I think it was staffing issues, we wanted to bring myself in the morning time so I can help out with the operation. So we changed that from like about 5:30 to 2, at least for like my position. But the hours of operation would be 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
So the smokers would go from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. They'd be on smoking?
No. That's how long we're open for. I'm so
No,
sorry.
I mean, how long are the smokers going to be billowing out smoke? I think that's what people want to know.
Okay, just 8 hours. if that, like 5 to 8 hours.
Starting in the morning.
What,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
I
it
didn't
also dep-
understand the hours.
So it all depends on the product. Like everything has its own smoke time. So it's kind of like hard to differentiate. Like let's say like if we're smoking like a brisket, normally that would take about 8 to 10 hours on a good day, but also depending on weather. Whereas you have ribs that could take up to like 3 to 4 hours or something like that.
But
But
what
that
are
was
the
like
hours
also kind of
that
the
you'd be
reason
doing that?
why. I'm sorry.
I wanted to understand what are the hours that you would be running the smokers? Would it be
I
overnight?
normally run the smokers from 5:30 a.m. to about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then it stops. So like Jackie was talking about before, normally when the times that she would come there and the food would be sold out, I would just only make food for just that day of what we think we could sell. And then once that's done, smokers are off.
I just wanted
I
to
have-
add one thing. Oh, go
Good. No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Currently at the double wide, if you're in that area, we do have a wood burning, we have 100% wood burning grill there. So you do smell a little bit of it's like a barbecue smell. The smokers are more of a contained burn that goes through a small chimney. We have our grill running, which puts up a lot of smoke. And we've never had any people complain about that with the smoke. But if you want to go to the double wide now, you can smell what it smells like.
Jackie, could I ask a couple of questions? Thanks. Okay, so I live, first of all, double wide is my second kitchen. All right, so I just, I go there all the time. You are a half a block away from me. And so I am asking about the smokers and the smell and that whole kind of thing, because not only am I interested, but my neighbor who is on Cary Way is interested as well. So, of course, it's the way the wind blows, but you're saying it does not create a lot of smoke. And these smokers are new. They're not the ones that you use in the back right now to create the barbecue, right?
No,
Okay. So would they create more smoke, I guess?
yes.
And so it would depend on which way the wind blew as to, and when. That was the reason my asking about when you would be running them is just because we live there and, especially in the summer, that would come our way.
Do you currently smell the wood burning grill?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, my neighbor even smells it even more because she has a very sensitive smell. So yeah, sometimes I think that's that. But I mean, we have Archie's and Chupkas that are right near us too. So, but we're not always sure. So that's the reason why I was asking about that. And my only other thing, I mean, I understand the experience you're trying to do. So whether I like the way it looks or not, it's your business, and if it doesn't fly against any other regulations, then I understand what, you're trying to bring in more business, which we like and which is good. And I like your food. So I'm more concerned about how it's going to infuse into the neighborhood.
I
No
think
answer.
once the smokers, if they're out there, it'll add a nice vibe to the neighborhood. It's something people will see it. It'll look like a nice patio with the meat cooking, and it'll smell good, and it'll be a show.
Okay, so, but I guess it was the smoke issue that I was, asking about. So, and that's
I did-
mostly during the day. I think Mitchell addressed that, right?
Correct.
Okay, which was 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., right?
Yep, you got it.
Okay. Okay. I you know, I would guess that that's all I wanted to know. When first I thought I heard you say something about overnight, but 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. is many people are awake. Many of us aren't, but that's fine. It doesn't bother me.
Thanks, Quaylen. Does anybody else have any other questions? I don't see anyone's hand raised on the Zoom. Anybody else?
One thing that I did want to say, as we talk with businesses at the other end of East Carson Street that are concerned about the clientele or the challenges that they're facing as a result of the pandemic and the summers, it's the idea of changing your business model and providing experiences, and the idea that people are not necessarily interested in just drinking. They want to have an experience. So Steve, when you had mentioned that you're Steve and Mitchell, when you're saying you're attempting to provide an experience for the customer and in essence, drawing other people to the community that may not come here anymore for a variety of reasons. It is something that when we're looking at nighttime economy and nightlife, it is that experience piece that many places are focusing in on in order to draw customers. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Currently, we close pretty early, and about 80 to 85% of our business is food sales versus alcohol. So we're more restaurant. Like.
Yep. What time do you close?
Right now we close at about 8:15. That's the winter time. In the summer, we're open until about 10 during the week and midnight on the weekends.
Okay.
But it's quiet there. If you're in the neighborhood, there's not much happening at those times anyways.
And when you have had bands or anything like that, it's not been, I mean, it's been during the day, it's not been invasive, it's been, fine. It's been enjoyable. Yeah, they're not wet. Yeah. There's somebody.
If there's people,
pardon me?
go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell Jackie somebody else put up their hand.
Peter.
Yep. Peter has his hand raised. We'll flip over to Peter for questions.
And there was someone else in the chat, Jackie. You might want to check it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have questions. Just want to make a couple of comments. First of all, I'm in my office right now on Penn Avenue, and Sport Pit is just like a block and a half away. And I'm like, damn, I'm not going to be able to drive past those at work anymore. That I'll have to do it when I get home. So I mean, they're cool. It's like, and when they're going, it's like this performance art thing. So I think it's great. The other thing, and to Bob's earlier comment on, what does the LRC have to say about it? What's HRC have to say about it? As it turns out, my business partner is a commissioner on the HRC, and I just kind of pinged her. This is unofficial. I mean, no official word from HRC, but I mean, these things are on wheels. It's equipment. It's portable. It's not like a fixed element in the built environment. It's like this portable device that just does what it does. And how the HRC reacts to it, I have no idea, but her reaction was, well, what else? What else would you do? Of course, why not? And the performance art part of it, I think is good and ties in with the outdoor dining, that whole activation of that corner. I think it's great. So anyway, I just wanted to say, I'll have to see you on the south side, if I can't go down the street anymore.
Thanks, Peter. We have Holly, you're in the chat. You want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have a problem with any of this myself. You know, I love your smoke stuff, and I'm always a little miffed when there's no more smoked salmon, you know, for my salad. But my question, I have a couple questions. The first one is, I mean, these are just for like the appearance of the neighborhood. So, I mean, you said it gets a little smoky. So do you think that it's gonna like get the front of of the restaurant all dingy? Like, are there gonna be like
Oh.
smoke stains in the front? Um, and sorry if I
Smokers have
missed this,
really,
I stepped away for a second, but yeah, just like
you
in the
know,
front.
so the smokers at our restaurant, even for them being in the same spot for the past 5 years, it hasn't done really any structural damage or any stainings. I mean, I also go there. I clean every like 3 weeks, like around the smokers and even on in. So it's
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking more about, I mean, yeah, definitely the smokers. Yeah, they need like maintenance. I was thinking of like the top of the building, like would you get like orange staining up on the top of the building, or I'm just kind of
haven't
wondering.
noticed anything of that particular issue with our restaurant.
Okay, would you be willing, like, if it did get so that they were kind of like ugly, like nasty smoke stains up there, like, would you be willing, I mean, would you guys clean the building, repaint the building? I don't know.
I would.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, we want it to look clean also.
cool.
There's if you Google in Austin, Texas, for instance, there's probably 100 barbecue places that have barbecue pits. I think
Mhm.
there's maybe 3 in Pittsburgh, but they're pretty common in other cities.
Yeah, I don't know what the building density of Upton, Texas is like. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, I'm assuming they have there's more like air for smoke to fly into. But anyway, yeah, but that's not, I just wanted to find out what, you know, just like find out more about like upkeep and stuff like that. Yeah, my second question, yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm glad that the other caller asked you about the smoke, like the smell coming in a window. Cause I mean, like when I'm driving across the Birmingham Bridge, I can smell your place. And I love it. I love the smell of smoked food. I'm just yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, like, so if I don't know, like if it gets super smoky, like what are the recourses if like someone moves into the first floor, you know, apartment like right next door, and I don't know. I mean, they moved in, but
I assume they can complain to the city, and that's something we would have to address if there is
okay.
a
Yeah.
that. There's nothing that says you can't do it, but obviously if it's impacting someone, you have to try to resolve the problem. And if that's the problem arises, then we have to deal with it. Either we can't
Yeah.
smoke anymore, put scrubbers in, which are, I read an article, they're about $150,000. So it's not really a viable option to do it. But in the whole city of Austin, Texas, there was one place that put scrubbers in, from what I read. So
Okay. My third I mean, those were, yeah, that, I mean, that wasn't a huge issue because like I I don't know, I don't think, well, you answered that question before I asked it, and whatever. But my third question is, so yeah, you're rendering whether or not the smokers are to scale. I mean, that's like like a quarter, a third of your outdoor seating. Is that gonna impact your revenue in the summer in any time? And would that like negatively impact your business? I don't know. I mean, this is something you probably thought about, but I'm just wondering. We'd rather have you in the neighborhood than
Yeah.
leaving. You know?
We have a lot of space out there. We've done different things out there in the past. In the last couple of years, we had a sport park out there with cornhole and trash can, beer pong, and it was just a lot of. We had the space there just because it was extra. We put the games out there, but they didn't really do much. But it's with that many seats that we already have, to add that many more seats, that's a lot of people to try to serve. So we feel like we can give up the space, and the addition of the smokers would outweigh the revenue. Hopefully it's just maybe busier, like longer periods of the day. If people come out to eat earlier then, or whatever. But we have more than we need.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Steve, are there concerns about vandalism? How do you curb that?
Mitch could probably answer that more. The units themselves are fairly sturdy. They're solid steel. So I'll let Mitch chime in. Do you hear Mitch?
I'm sorry.
They wanted to know about vandalism, potential vandalism to the smokers.
As far as like,
I mean, it's in an open area, so when double wide is closed, is there concern about vandalism? How was it?
I'm not too concerned, just because they're really industrial sized cast iron smokers, so it's going to take a lot for someone to actually like do harm and good. I mean, even for me right now, as the smokers are being at Garfield right now, I don't have any worries.
But nobody could really, I mean, it would take a heck of a lot to topple them over or bash them with a bat or something like that. I think that's what Barbara's asking.
If they like bash it with a bat or anything.
Well, I mean,
just any kind of vandalism. I mean, they could end up being graffitied, and which I guess, wouldn't necessarily matter because you could handle that. But just knowing that that's not an issue in Garfield, that's, for me, that's a good answer.
yeah.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. Deli Spears is asking, you're starting as early as 5:30 a.m. How loud of a sound do the smokers make, if any?
I haven't received any complaints.
So no big bangs or anything like that someone would be concerned
Not at
about.
all. I'm usually really careful, especially with the cast iron doors being so heavy and large and whatever. I don't want to damage the machine either. I mean, I want that thing to get at least another like 20 years out of it. So I'm going to take care of the thing.
Okay.
So yeah, no loud noises.
All right.
That's not what I meant. Does it have a motor? that runs it?
Straight wood fire.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from anyone that's on the Zoom? I don't see, I'm looking for any raised hands here. No? Okay. All right, I'll take that silence as no more questions for the evening. So next steps, thanks everyone for joining. You do have the opportunity within the next 30 days to send any comments or questions to the Southside Community Council. You can send that to info@southsidecommunitycouncil.org. This project will present in front of the Historic Review Commission. If we have any other comments or questions, we will send that on to the Historic Review Commission. There's multiple ways to provide testimony there. If you're interested, you can visit the city's Historic Review Commission webpage to see those options. And we also encourage you to visit the Southside Community Council website for follow-up. We do post all of these recordings to our YouTube page as well, so you can go back and see other recordings as well as this one. And you can also go to our website and sign up for our monthly newsletters. The next scheduled DAM meeting is for Thursday, April 20th. Right now, I do not believe we have anything on the agenda, but if that changes between now and then, we'll let you all know. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Steve. Thanks, Mitchell.
evening,
Have a
guys.
good night.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mike.